Okay, this video is about setting up a distillation. The first thing we're going to do is look through all the different bits of glassware and other things that we're going to need. For starters, you'll need 2 retort stands. You'll need some rubber tubing, light tubing, you'll need a heating mantle. This heating mantle has 2 switches. One is to select which ring you want to heat, so the upper or the lower ring, and the other control is for how much power you want to use. It's important to select the lower ring if you're using a small flask, otherwise it just won't work. The liebig condenser connects the orange tubing. The 2 round bottom flasks, the larger one you'll start with your material in and you'll distill it into the smaller one. The distillation head, which connects the round bottom flask with the crude material, the thermometer holder and the liebig condenser. The distillation adapter with the small vent on top. The thermometer and the thermometer holder. Okay, so let's put them all together now and make our distillation apparatus. So step 1 is take the flask into which you are going to put the crude material to distill and clamp it so that it's held securely in the heating mantle. You want it held securely and you want to be very careful that you clamp it well around the neck of the flask so that in a case of emergency you can lift it by only the clamp and you don't actually have to touch the flask to take it out. So you'll see here in this picture how I have it clamped around the neck of the flask. Once you've got that in, then you can put in your distillation head. Again, make sure things are secure, adjust as necessary. Once you put your distillation head in, then you can add on your liebig condenser. So you're going to want to clamp your liebig condenser in place, but first just see where it fits. It should stay there as long as you have it reasonably secure, but you can't leave it there for long. So take your clamp and notice that only one part of the jaws actually move. Align the fixed half of the jaws, the part that doesn't move, with the condenser. Make sure that the boss head is loose so that it's free to move around and don't put undue strain on the glassware. Once you have it set up like that, you can close the clamp to hold the liebig condenser. Don't crush it, don't tighten it too much, but tighten it so that it's secure. Then secure your boss head and make sure that there's not too much strain on the glassware and it's in the position you want it to be. Next, put on your distillation adapter and then finally put on your collecting flask. And now we're pretty much ready to go. Well, we've got to put in our thermometer and our thermometer holder. So the thermometer holder has a small little rubber washer inside it that's crushed as you screw down the top. So if you put the thermometer in through the hole and then you tighten it up, that rubber washer will get squished around the thermometer and form a good seal. You want to make sure that you have the thermometer in the right position. So there's 2 parts to this. One, you want to measure the temperature of the gas as it's entering the liebig condenser. So like in this picture, it's just where the gas is going to enter into the condenser. That way we know we're measuring the right boiling point. And the other aspect is that you have to be able to see the temperature that you need to be able to see on the thermometer. So if your scale is down inside the distillation apparatus, that's not really much good to us. Now we have it set up, we can attach our pipes. So always remember that water goes in the bottom and out the top. And that's with respect to gravity. So it doesn't matter which you think is the top or the bottom of the liebig condenser, it just goes in the lower and out the upper. It's also a good idea to put them on before you assemble your glassware. That way you avoid straining it as you put the tubing onto the adapters. In a pinch you can take them off like I'm doing in this video, but generally you do it beforehand. Anyway, let's look at this distillation setup actually operating. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to turn the heat on and the vapor is going to start to boil. And eventually it'll boil up until it's condensing on the thermometer, and then the thermometer will heat up until it's condensing all the way into the flask, and then it will start to come across. And you can see the first few drips in this distillation coming across, and then the liquid drips down inside the liebig condenser. If you haven't looked closely at the liebig condenser, you'll see that there's an outer jacket that the water flows through, and then there's an empty inner tube that's cooled by the water and condenses the material that's coming across from the flask. So it condenses the hot vapors back into the liquid, and then we can collect those below in our collection flask. Okay, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, post them on Moodle, post them below, or send me an email, or ask me in the lab. That's all. Bye! See you in the lab!